In this section, we will consider the structural approach's view of family development. If we consider the structural family therapy approach and their views on normal family development, the structural family therapy approach sees healthy families as not being defined by the absence of problems, but rather by functional family structure. Healthy families can modify their structure to accommodate change in circumstances. These could be development changes and/or situational crises. Less adaptive families, however, in light of change in circumstances, increase the rigidity of structures and thus they become no longer functional. Some of the change in circumstances that families have to adapt to include when people marry. Here they need to accommodate each other and negotiate boundaries between them. When children are born, families then need to establish an executive parental subsystem as well as a sibling subsystem when siblings are born. And as children grow, families must make changes to the family structure to accommodate development. Having looked at normal family development, we will now consider how behavior disorders are developed within families. Structure is required when a family or one of its members encounter external pressures. These could be things, for instance, such as a parent being retrenched, a family moving, and also structure is also required when developmental transitions are reached. For example, a child reaching adolescence or parents retiring. Healthy families are able to accommodate such changes. Disengaged families, however, in light of such changes, increase the rigidity of their structures to the point that they are no longer functional, and the family then becomes unable to mobilize the necessary support. In enmeshed families, this is in families where the boundaries are diffuse. In light of change in circumstances, family members become dependent on one another. What then creates problems within families? First of all, hierarchies. When hierarchies are rigid, unfair, or weak or ineffective. Problems are also caused when families avoid the issues around conflict, and also when cross-generational coalitions are formed. An example of this would be instead of parents fighting amongst themselves, they choose to respond by rather fighting through their children. Problems arise in families when family structures are inflexible. Here, they fail to adjust to change in circumstances and they fail to reorganize themselves in order to deal with the stresses in the home environment.